to the tutorial. It's a Bearded Boys tutorial. First thing you want to do is type in your motherboard BIOS, search the website, look for the latest update. You don't need to update it incrementally, you can just do the latest one. Next thing you're going to want to do is turn off your power supply, power down your system and discharge any power left over by repeatedly pressing the power button, and then let's get your case open. You can also then use an anti-static wrist strap connected to anywhere metal on the case. They stop you wrecking your system. For extra safety you can remove your socks. Now that you have your case open, you can locate your CPU cooler. Mileage may vary, but pretty much you want to look for the 4 screws on the motherboard for the CPU holder. With your Phillips screwdriver or whatever screwdriver you're using, you can slightly loosen the 4 screws. Hindsight's a wonderful thing. I then realised that I need to take the fan off because I can only see 2 of the screws. I have obviously sped this footage up. Do this with care. You don't need to do it with brute force. Once you have removed any fan from your heatsink that was in the way, you can then loosen the 3rd and 4th screws. Just another tip guys, you can see with my right hand I'm actually holding the heatsink there. I've seen a few other videos online and the guys have just went hell for leather and completely loosened the 4 screws, to which the CPU has fell out somehow attached to the heatsink. Must be due to the thermal paste, so just do take care with that. Success, we have the CPU cooler removed, what you'll have left is your CPU with dried in thermal paste over the top of it. As we will be removing the CPU soon, I would place your PC case on a flat surface, motherboard facing up. Next we'll be applying Arctic Clean 1 thermal material remover. Apply 5 to 6 drops away from your computer onto a lint-free cloth. Let it dry for approximately 30 to 60 seconds. The full instructions are on the bottle. Apply with care guys. You can also use Arctic Clean 2 if your CPU is going into another system. With all the cleaning done, your CPU is ready to be removed. If you note, you'll see the wee clip. You will need to pull that back and it will release the CPU holder. If you gently unlatch the wee clip and then simply push it back upwards to the top, it will release the CPU holder. Important part guys, please take note that the lower left triangle is the position where your CPU should be inserted, so do remember what way your new CPU will be going in. Gently lift your CPU out with the outer edges. Do not touch the golden metal pins at the other side. You may damage your CPU if you do this. Slowly lift it away. Yeah, do not touch them pins. As we said earlier, the important part, the triangle at the bottom left, you need to match that up with your new CPU. There will be a triangle on your new CPU. Next step guys, just simply clean the CPU cooler thermal paste off. Arctic Clean 1 to remove any excess thermal paste. Again, instructions on the bottle. 5 to 6 drops on a lint-free cloth. And then Arctic Clean 2, you'll want to use that to prepare your CPU cooler going back on. As you can see, I'm going from an i7-8700 to a i9-9900K. I'm ready to install the new i9-9900K. Again guys, as I did mention earlier, don't touch the gold pins. Line up the triangles, mine's just showing the bottom left here, and gently set the CPU into the tray. You don't need to force it. Once it is seated guys, like mine's is there now, you can go back and give it a slight wriggle to see if it is sitting correctly. Mine was. So the next step is you want to pull down your CPU tray holder and clip it underneath the wee screw. See, I haven't done it just quite right there. You can pull it back up, slide it down now, and you can see the tray is going underneath the screw, and then simply place the latch back under to lock it. Now that you've installed your CPU, you'll want to apply some thermal paste or compound. I'm using Arctic Silver 5. A link will be attached in the description of this video. There's different methods. I went for the P method in the middle, and as you can tell I am pretty crap at art because that does not look like a P. And finally, the last step, remounting your CPU cooler. Just take care with this, guys. When you are screwing it back on, you don't want to screw it so tight that you're going to warp your motherboard. You just want a firm amount of pressure that there's good contact with the CPU and the CPU cooler. Cross screw if you can. I was kind of going for that technique, but again, this video is sped up, so do take care not to over tighten or under tighten. So in my case, the heatsink's all attached on. I need to get the fan back on. And again, hindsight, I should have probably loosened the cable and maybe attached that to the heatsink before screwing it on, because this was footery as heck. And that's it, guys. That's all there is to it. Pretty much, once your CPU cooler's back on, get your case back on and power up your PC. Hopefully if you have the latest BIOS, there'll be no issues. Thank you very much for watching. Hopefully that wasn't too painful. There will be future tutorials, so please do subscribe if this video has helped you or you find it useful. Feel free to leave a comment, guys, if there anything you would have done differently or tips. And again, thank you for watching. Please subscribe.